This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings, powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
Something I have always wanted to do is write a book. I've always been super impressed by people who do that. Matt, have you ever wanted to write a book?
Absolutely not. I barely want to read a book.
Are you serious? You're not a reader?
No, I mean, I would enjoy it. I just have a busy life with kids and everything. It's hard to get some I actually, to be honest, I read all the time. I read books to my kids every single night.
Well, there you go.
And you got to do the characters and the voices and all that kind of good stuff.
Oh, you do the voices?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I did Elmo and Grover last night.
All right, let's hear two voices. Let's hear your Elmo. Let's hear your Elmo.
Oh, gosh, putting me on the spot. Hi, kids.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. It can get better. Hi, Johnny. Hi, Johnny.
Oh, yeah, that's creeping me out a little bit. Let's hear Grover.
Oh, Grover's easy.
Grover here on the Johnny and Jenny Show.
Did I say Johnny and Jenny?
You did.
On the Johnny Jennings Show.
There you go.
Wow.
You have a gift.
We just lost all of our listeners just like that.
No, we didn't. They're
What
probably
the heck are we listening
they're
to?
laughing. So in the studio today, Chad Francis with Thrive Stewardship Financial Advisors has written a book, but not a comic book, like a legit real book.
How many pages? That's my first question.
Oh, good question.
It's 1,000 pages,
No
so
way,
buckle up. It's going to be a nightmare.
Baloney.
150 pages.
Oh, see, that's super thin. That's like, you can read that going to bed.
Yep. And that was the big goal, too.
And like half of it is illustrations.
Yeah, how many pictures? How many pictures are in the book?
There's
got
only
a 5-page introduction.
Only one picture?
And the picture's a graph. It's not even a fun picture, so get the comic book idea gone. But no, there's 150 pages of content. And the whole idea was that, let's make it easily digestible so you can go through on a weekend, sit down, knock out the book, get the content, and then take those next steps.
Wonderful. And so when you were coming, like you mentioned wanted to keep it small and digestible, did you have in your mind like 150 pages, or did you have to trim it down, or did you have to expand it out? Like, talk to me about how you came up with the length.
Sure. The length was not the biggest concern. It was really about the content and the structure. And so it was coming up with my team and figuring out what we wanted to have put into the book and what was going to be helpful for people. And so coming up with the ideas, coming up with the content, and breaking it out into chapters, looking at those chapters and breaking it out into topics. And really, then once we got going with all of that content and putting the book together, then it started looking like, it's going to shape out to about 150 pages. That was never an end goal, though.
See, it just reminds me of writing papers in college. Like, they had to be 7 pages long, 10 pages long, 15 pages long. And so it was always so hard. And so when you tell me that your book is 150 pages long, I just get like stressed out, start sweating bullets, because like, how am I going to come up with that much content?
Sure.
But you've been doing this for a while, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, if it's in your wheelhouse, you could write 150 pages on real estate.
I've never done it. So
you use a lot of examples. You tell stories. You don't just provide the facts, because obviously if it's 150 pages of facts, it's like I remember doing my master's at Jessup, writing on the topic. You don't just provide the information. You provide support materials, and oftentimes that can be stories, examples, so it's easy once you get started. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And especially once you're starting to talk about what you're passionate about or what you're knowledgeable about, it comes very natural. You're not trying to put together a 10-page paper on something that bores you and it's a school topic. Not that school is boring, but it's something that you love and you care about. It does come a lot easier.
That makes sense. So what is the book about?
Sure. So the title of the book is The Generosity Blueprint. It's a faith-based guide for wealth management and impactful generosity.
Love that. Generosity Blueprint. How'd you come up with that idea?
Again, something that my team and I were working on together, and so I had a lot of help in that name, but I knew the direction we wanted to go in. And one day we were sitting down and everyone came together and said, okay, let's take everyone's ideas and examples. We came up with 41 different working titles for the book.
Wow.
And had to whittle it down from there. And so this one wasn't even my first pick and my first idea, but one of the team members said, here's something that I have, here's something that someone else had, and we blended the ideas to get to that final name of The Generosity Blueprint.
Love that name. That's a super great name. And so what's the book about? Like who should read this book?
Yeah, so it does take a very Christian perspective. So it's a faith-based guide, but it walks through money management, wealth management, how to build wealth, and the purpose behind all of that. So what we're ultimately hoping for is to get to people's hearts that everything they do, and they start going through finance and learning how to budget, why they should get out of debt, building wealth, and why they should want to build wealth, it goes beyond their own hearts. So it's not just for them, but it's for their families, it's to impact their community, and ultimately it's reflecting the heart of God. And we want that to be an intentional, multi-step process for them to ultimately be more impactful givers.
More impactful givers. So when I know you covered a lot of things of who it's for and how they can give to their community. But again, born and raised in the church, I'm a Christian. Mm-hmm. But when I hear giving, I can't help but think tithe or the church asking me for money.
Sure.
Like how do you cover that at all in the book, or
absolutely cover that?
What does that look like?
Covering from the start of the book, from where struggles are today with culture. We are living in a time where things are so incredibly expensive and we're still dealing with inflation. The idea of giving can be really hard for some people. Mm-hmm. And it stretches further than that to an educational point. A lot of people aren't taught how to manage money and how to handle their finances in high school, after high school. And so the thought of even trying to give, for a lot of people, while it might weigh on their heart, it might be a desire, it seems like an impossibility. They're just not there. They don't have that. They don't have the means to do that.
It's more like an aspirational type of a thing.
Yeah.
Or they're just scared. They're afraid about the what ifs. Well, what if this happens? Well, what if this happens?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a great thing that I interviewed a handful of pastors, and that was one thing that they had talked about as well, is that fear of, and they gave me a real life example of when they were younger. If I gave, this is money that I then do not have to potentially feed my children.
Yeah.
It's a dollar that's not in my pocket, therefore it's a dollar I can't use. Mm-hmm. And so it's really tackling those struggles to help people overcome those hurdles that if giving is on their heart, here's practical steps to take, starting small, working your way up, working through a budget, getting your money in order, and building wealth so that over time, you're not just giving out of your income, your paycheck, you're giving out of the wealth bucket you've created.
And I've talked to a lot of people, because I'm a Christian as well, and a lot of people who've decided, I'm going to take that leap of faith. For me, it's a risk. It's scary. And never have they regretted doing that, taking that 10% or whatever they choose to give to their local church or ministries or whatever nonprofit organizations. They've never regretted doing it or run into a situation where they're just missing that 10%.
I feel like I made a mistake.
Right. You never run into that.
I've never experienced that either. So you mentioned it is a faith-based book, mm-hmm. But anybody could benefit from this, right? Whether you are from a different faith or you don't have a faith, you can still benefit from the teachings and the principles that you outline in the book.
Absolutely. There's different perspectives that are taken throughout the book, and a lot of it has to do with the growth of oneself, the growth of one's family, the growth of a community. The Christian perspective and incorporation of God in that conversation is just one area. Mm-hmm. But that does not negate the value of the financial lessons that are inside that book as well.
Absolutely. So I don't care what your religion is, what your political affiliation is, but when somebody is speaking truth, right, that crosses cultural lines, it crosses all these different lines. So if somebody's speaking financial truths, like regardless of where you are at religiously, it would make sense why this would resonate and be helpful to them.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
It's whether you're red, whether you're blue, whether you're here, whether you're there. If you have a heart for giving, if you have a heart for other people, if you have what you would call a heart full of love, then yeah, there's something that's in there for you.
Because I think everyone, no matter what your status is, no matter if you're a multimillionaire or you're making minimum wage, I think we all have this desire to have purpose.
Yes.
Just like the name of your company, Johnny, Made for More.
Yep.
I think we all have the desire that our money go beyond just providing for our basic needs, which is important, especially if you have a family. That is an important goal, mission, calling that you have on your life. But also, I think we all have a inner drive to, I want to do something. And that goes for our money as well.
And this is something I notice with clients, people who are selling their homes and they are in their sunset years. A lot of them are very legacy focused. Like a lot of, hey, I want to give back. I want to make sure I left the world better than I found it. I want to make sure there's an inheritance for family members. But you don't have to wait till you're, on your deathbed to start planning that.
Right.
Right. And that sounds like that's or to start giving back. Like in the book, you go over ways that people can give, regardless of if you're working a minimum wage job or you're making millions of dollars a year, right?
Correct. So one of the chapters specifically focuses on non-financial giving. Generosity is a posture. It's who you are as a person. It's who God made you to be. It's not just that you're giving money, but it's also giving of your time, giving of your talents. It's a way that you share your treasure, all of your treasures, not just the dollars portion of that.
Real quick, what's the name of the book?
It is The Generosity Blueprint.
The Generosity Blueprint. And is it available on Amazon, or where can they get it? Is it available yet?
It is going to be available on Amazon very shortly.
Okay.
And so for folks that are getting plugged into that, if they're looking for that, I would say, sure, start there. The best place to go might be to our website, thrivestewardship.com. We're happy to get you plugged in on our mailing list, send you a coupon, get you a discount on the book as well.
The Generosity Blueprint.
Correct.
Love it.
So is there a quote in there about, do you have any examples from the book about giving?
Yeah. And I think that when we go back to giving financially, there's something to say about when one gives $1. It is something that can be replicated. If I give $1, I don't have that dollar, but I can go out today and I can go to work and I can make another $1. Great. Something that you're giving of, like your time, if you're volunteering, if you're spending time with other people in need. Time is a precious resource. That's not something you can create more of.
I can't get my Saturday back. It's
Exactly.
gone. Yeah.
You go through your calculation and you think, how many years do I have left on the planet? How many months is that? How many hours is that? There's a finite measure to your time. It is precious. And so when you're able to go beyond yourself and you can give of your time to other people, I think it's so valuable, because giving time to others says that you're worth something I can never get back.
Yeah. So in talking about generosity, we're not just talking strictly financial.
Yeah.
Right.
We're talking beyond the finances, and finances is just one aspect of that. And even though it's a struggle and even though it's hard, for many, giving financially can be the easiest first step, because it can be easier to give $5. It can be easier to help someone that's in need, that is hungry. It is harder to maybe give them an hour of your time in this increasingly busy world.
So I have a friend recently who was coming back over the pass down 80 over past Truckee, pulled into the gas station for a pit stop, and he comes out and there's this lady, and she is like stressed out. Her car's kind of banged up, and the tire's flat, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, like she needs help, right?" Obviously, he goes over to her, tries talking with her. She doesn't speak any English. He doesn't speak her language, and he's like, "I just don't have time for this. I'm late for an appointment already. What am I going to do?" But he just heard that little small voice, like, help this person, like, do what you can. There's something you can do, figure it out, take the extra time. And so what he ended up doing was he pulled a couple $100 out of his wallet and walked across the parking lot and saw the student, a big jacked up, lifted 4x4. And he goes, if there's anybody around here that knows how to change a tire, it's the person that's driving that vehicle.
Right.
And so he walked over to him and he's like, hey, here's $200 if you're willing to help her change your tire. Can you help her with that? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. And the guy was very excited about the money. Like, you could tell that maybe there was something else going on in his life where $200 was potentially life-changing for him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
And so by my friend taking the time and figuring this out, yes, he threw some money at it. He didn't crawl under and lay down the snow and the ice and change the tire, but he took the time and he was generous. One, he noticed it. How many times do we walk past and
That's
go, oh,
true.
they'll figure
Good
it out?
point.
One, he noticed it. Two, he took the time to try to figure out a solution to the problem. So that woman got her tire changed, and somebody else potentially received some money that they really needed.
Right.
You know?
And look at that chain reaction. He went out of his way to do something because he felt called to do it. He felt something inside of him. He financially helped another person in that parking lot who could use the money.
Yeah.
He then got to have a gift of giving of his time to that woman that was in need. So not only did he walk away with $200, he now has that feeling in his heart that we all feel when we do something selfless.
Correct. And who knows how far out that's going to ripple.
Yeah. Now
Yeah.
she has her car back on the road, and who knows where she was going. She
Yeah.
might have been on her way to go help someone else.
Yeah, very good point. Very good point. So when we come back, we will talk about more about what's in this book specifically, because you and I I've been following your journey as you've been writing the book, and it seems very similar to a book by Dave Ramsey, but you're going to share about why it is more than just that book, more than a Total Money Makeover. Back after this.
Well, guys, the real estate bar has been raised. Clients today expect more help navigating a difficult sale fast. That's why we highly recommend Johnny Jennings and his team at Made for More Realty. For instance, they helped out Alice. She needed to sell her mother's home, but didn't want to deal with showings and open houses. Johnny Jennings and his team at Made for More Realty were able to get her an incredible as-is offer off market in 2 days. The sale was quick, discreet, and very easy for Alice. And you know, they can do the same for you. That's why, holy cow, they have over 930 five-star Google reviews. They've been number one in Roseville for the past 3 years. Did you know you can get at least 3 cash offers on your home in as-is condition, just like they did for Alice? Just reach out to Johnny Jennings and his team at Made for More Realty, because you expect more, so get more. Just Google Made for More Realty today and get more for your home. License number 1982-171.